Good afternoon, everybody. MG here, MG Covers, bringing you a brand new handicapping video. Title of this video is Watch Me Handicap 2 soccer games from start to finish. Super excited to be doing a live video for you guys. Going to do a lot more of these. Before we get in that, as always, if this is your first time watching one of my videos, love to have you as a subscriber. If you find value in this video, would appreciate a like. If you want to follow me on all of the social media outlets, I'm MGCovers, cover spelled with a Z. You get a ton of free information, ton of tips, ton of content about sports betting simply by following me on Instagram as well as Twitter. Now, before we dive into this soccer video, I want to give a little bit of backstory to soccer. About 2.5 years ago, I created a soccer stat model. I tweaked it several times and then, in fact, went full throttle during COVID and pretty much was wagering on soccer exclusively. We ended up for 2020 a record of 140. We had 140 wins, had 160 losses. And you think that would be not profitable, but it actually was. We ended up turning a profit of about $3,500. That's one unit equals $1,000. Or 3.5 units. Now, again, as far as ROI, return on investment, that wasn't good enough, meaning the amount we were wagering versus what we were getting in return wasn't worth it. So I stopped wagering on soccer, sort of got back into it somewhere around, I think, I think I stopped around October, started back again, and I think middle of November, wagered a few weeks and then stopped again completely. And what I've realized, and this is kind of ties in with Major League Baseball as well right now. One of the changes I made to the soccer model was I went to this, if a team was a double-digit goal differential favorite via my power rankings, that indicated that was a play. And then I made another video where I was just focused on line movement. And here's the deal. This is very important, a very important lesson. And this is sort of, I'm preaching to myself as well when I say this. Handicapping is two parts. It's the objective side and the subjective side. Okay, there's no shortcuts to being successful in this business. And what I mean by the objective is your stat model. You have to have a proven statistical stat model that's going to give you an edge over the sportsbook line. Sportsbook line is a bias line. Those lines are set based on the public's perception of that team so that the sports books can balance the action. So our model is 100% statistically driven with no bias factored in to give us an edge. So that's one part of handicapping. Then there's the subjective side, which takes into account line movement, takes into account maybe a team is better at home than they are away. Are there injuries in the game or the match as in soccer? So the big point I'm trying to make in all this is that you have to factor in everything. You have to consider everything. And then once you have all of that information, you can make what I call a good wager. You can't predict outcomes in sports betting. I'm sorry, you can't. So your whole goal in all of this is to make, quote, good wagers. That is your objective as a sports handicapper, my objective as a professional, to make good wagers. Again, can't predict outcome. And when you ready to place that wager, click that button to place that wager, you have to ask yourself, is this a good wager? And if it is, it doesn't matter the outcome. The reason being, because if you make enough good wagers, you will win more than you lose and turn, or I should say you should be profitable, because I play a majority of dogs. So that's really the key. And that's one thing I've really started to focus on with soccer. I've done a lot of testing, a lot of research here in the last couple of weeks. And I really want to show you this approach that I've been working on. I think it's a really good way to handicap pretty much any sport, A to Z. So I'm going to sort of take you through that process, and hopefully this will help you. I'm actually going to give away my picks for these two games as well. So let's fix the screen and let's dive into it, guys. All right, so what you're looking at here right off the gate, let me get this out of the way. These are my power rankings for soccer. EPL, you can see here, this first game we're going to focus on, Fulham is -8 goal differential. Their line is 7.14. So my power rankings, they are huge dogs. Total is set at 3. This is my power ranking here. My line, I'm not going to get in how I come up with that line. I've tweaked it several times. But Burnley, they are a +8 goal differential. Now, I calculate goal differential completely different than the way you see on a majority of betting sites. And I think the way that I calculate it is the, quote, correct way to calculate. So based on goal differential, Burnley has an advantage. And then as far as the line, we have Burnley at -113. We have Fulham at 7.14. So this is the objective side. This is the, this is my model, my line. And what we do next is we take that line and we compare it to the sportsbook line. So you can see here, Burnley, let's just use this line to open. Burnley at 201, Fulham at +112. The draw was +217. Now, I'll talk briefly about why soccer is so difficult to handicap, and it's very, very simple. There are 3 possible outcomes in soccer. The home team wins, the away team wins, or the draw. So anytime you place a wager in soccer, statistically speaking, you only have a 33% chance of winning that wager. And again, there's a lot of different wagers you can wager, like a win, this team to draw or lose, et cetera, et cetera. But for the most part, there's 3 possible outcomes. So anytime you place a wager in soccer, you only have, statistically speaking, a 33% chance of winning that match. Okay. So it's very difficult, which again is my point, is that you have to handicap these games from A to Z completely using objective and subjective angles. So again, back to what we're looking at, my line was 7.14 for Burnley. We have Burnley huge dogs, and you can see here, let's just look at, I tell you what, let's just look at the bet online just to make it simple. So Burnley now is at +235. Our line's 7.14. Fulham is +125. Wait a minute, did I get this right? Man, let me back up it just a second here. Fulham. I've actually said this wrong, y'all. My bad. Fulham. Yeah, Fulham is 125. Our line is 7.14. So we have a huge difference in my line versus their line. Burnley is +235. We have Burnley -117. All right. So immediately we realize that we have a huge, huge, huge value in favor of Burnley. Now, mistake number 1. Whoops, my bad. What people do is they will automatically look, Burnley's -113. The line is +235. I'm going to play Burnley. You're only using objective in your handicap and not factoring any of these subjective side, or what I call situational angles. So if you do that long term, you will lose. That's just one part of it. So right off the gate, we realize, hey, we do have value with Burnley. So our next step is to handicap situational angles. So what we'll do, next site I'm at, this is at Odds Trader, where I'm at now. Let's take a look at, let me see if this came up on the screen, because this might not. Okay, it did. Okay, good. All right, so if we look, first thing I'm going to do is we're going to focus on form. You can see here Fulham has lost 4 out of their last 5 matches. Okay, that's not good. Not draw, they've lost. You can see here they lost 0-2, had a push there, or what we call a draw. Lost. Now let's take a look at Burnley. Again, not much better, although they did have a win against the Wolves there, 4-0, but they've lost 4 of their last 5 as well. Now, this game actually sets up as what I call a classic play against. I'll go ahead and talk about that. So when you look at a line, neither team is great. So majority of the time, this is going to favor the dog. So you're getting, the way that I like to think about this, you look here at Burnley as +235. You're getting +235 against a team that has not won in their last 5 matches. They've had a draw and 4 losses. Okay. And again, granted, Burnley's not much better, but still you have to look at the money. You're getting plus 235, or a way to think about it, you're getting plus 245 for a draw for a team that hasn't won, in the last 5 matches. And we're going to talk about how different ways you can structure this wager. So as far as form, neither team's in great form, right? All right. So now another thing we do when we're handicapping is let's look at betting previews. Betting previews are very important. You have to be careful too when you're looking at betting previews, because these betting previews will give a prediction. And again, it's hard not to be influenced by these predictions, because a lot of times what you see and hear the most, you end up believing. So a lot of times I will scroll down, not even look at the prediction, but for the sake of this video, just to show you, I will. And where I'm at, I'm at whoscored.com. They give really good betting previews. And you can see here, they show, who's injured. And you can see here out of the gate, and they'll give a little preview of it, which I think is really cool. They talk about a player that's back here. I won't read these names so that I don't embarrass myself with the pronunciation. And you got these two players here. It shows they're out and their rating here too. So obviously, if you find on Who Scored, they give each player a rating, which is pretty cool. A rating of 8 would be somebody that's just really, really a superstar player. A 6.8, not that great of a player. But they are missing these two guys. You can look over here for Burnley. Burnley is Chris Wood is doubt with a knock. It says despite defeat to West Ham. Could name an unchanged. So it looks like he might change the lineup. I think that's what that means. And then, of course, they talk about these injuries. So let's look at some actual, these are sort of some situational angles to look at. Fulham has been drawing at halftime and losing at full time in their last 3 home matches. Fulham is the home team. That's important. Home team, for the most part, wins a majority of the time in soccer. However, Fulham's just really not that good. There have been over 2.5 goals. We're not going to focus on the total. This is important. Fulham has lost their last 5 home matches. So not home field advantage has not done them well, have failed to score in 5 of their last 7 home matches. So this is another important thing that we're thinking about, because in order to win, I know it sounds silly in soccer, you're going to have to be able to score. That talks about the totals. And then, of course, Burnley have scored. This is important. This is the team that we're considering where we have value. Burnley has scored at least 2 goals in their last 3 away matches against Fulham in all competitions. And I think the reason that's important, their coach will point that out. Hey, guys, we've had success on the road here against this team in the past. And I think this is a very important situational angle, and I'm going to cover this. A 6-match winless streak, losing 5, means Fulham are currently 9 points off safety with 4 games to play, and they need to turn around their form at Craven Cottage. Burnley are all but safe, so may take their off the ball here. This is important. Surely they're going to cover this. Burnley have lost 4 of their last 5 matches, but 4-0 win at Wolves last month effectively sealed their Premier League. Yeah, so that's okay. They're finally talking about the Clarets should have enough to secure a top flight spot and potentially regulate Fulham in the process. So here's the backstory. This was in another betting preview. Fulham is in the English Premier League. They have to win this match in order to stay in the English Premier League. If they lose, they're going to get demoted into the English Championship Series. So situationally, what does that tell us? Well, it tells us very important that in this game, Fulham is going to be extremely motivated, right? They need to win this match, whereas Burnley has secured their spot in the English Premier League, might not be as motivated. all bad. Hopefully you guys can hear. Can you guys hear me now? Okay. All right. All right. So we're looking at, I wonder how much of this video. Hey, if somebody's in live, did you guys hear any of the previous part, or was it always on pause? Yeah. So what I'm looking at in this particular match, so Burnley is plus 275. I'm sorry, 235. And then the draw line is 245. So the way I would actually structure this wager is I would wager a half unit on Burnley at 235 and a half unit on the draw at 245. So again, there's three possible outcomes in soccer: home team, away team, and a draw. We're covering two of those three scenarios. The most unlikely scenario, in my opinion, the way of handicap, would be Fulham winning this match. And I don't believe they're going to win it based on what I've just covered. So I think the play would be a half unit on Burnley, a half a unit on the draw. So the only way we would lose is if Fulham wins this match. Now, just so you can see this out, do the math on this. Let's say the scenario where, let's say you're a $100 wager, you're a $100 better. So you would put 50 bucks on Burnley at 235, 50 bucks on the draw at 245. All right. So if you, all right, so let's see. So 235, so half of that. So if Burnley wins, let me add this up real quick. 6 would be, that's 1. Yeah, so you'd win about 112. Hang on a second, I'll do it this way. 235 minus 100 is 135. Yeah, there you go. All right, so if Burnley wins, using that same concept of wagering a half unit, if Burnley wins, you would win 0.75 units, and that's counting for the loss. And it would be very close to that on the draw as well. Let's say this match ends in a draw. Of course, you would lose Burnley on the actual money line that they would win, but you would win on the draw line. So 145. Yeah, same deal there. You would win, yeah, about 0.75 units. So that's a pretty good wager there. And I think that's the way to approach that game. All right, so now moving over to the, let's see, cut up after you finish with the who scored part, last 10 minutes. Okay, good deal. Appreciate you guys chiming in, and I do apologize for that. All right, so let's take a look at the next game here, next match. We have Real Betis, Granada. This is out of the Spain League. Real Betis is a +2 goal differential. My line is -151. Granada is a -2 goal differential and a 114 line with a total of 2.5. So fairly even teams. We have Real Betis as the favorite. So again, we'll go look at the actual line itself. Okay, so let's use Bet Online. Real Betis -125, and our line is -151. So we have a little bit of value there. And then Granada is +375. So we have a lot of value there with Granada at +375. And again, in soccer, we always have to consider the draw line. The draw line's very good money there at +270. Okay, so let's dive into their form here and see where we're at as far as form goes. Okay, interesting. Real Betis, when you see a team that has a lot of draws, what we can look at, they have a really good defense. All right, very, very, very good defense. So they've actually drawn their last 5 matches, which is crazy. The odds of that happening are very slim. Whereas you look at Granada, they've actually won 3 of their last 5 matches. So interesting. It would be hard to bet against, just logically thinking this through, it would be hard to bet against Real Betis to lose because they haven't lost in their last 5 matches. Same deal with Granada. They've won their last 3 out of 5. And then one other thing too, I want to show you too, when let me pull up this screen here. We go to flash score here. This is the other site I use called flashscore.com. And the reason I don't know if it's going to be able to pull this out. Oh, I know what I'll do. Never mind. We'll go here. We'll go to soccerstats.com. I want you guys to see the home and away. And you'll see a little bit of a difference here. And my stat model is actually built on this, the home and away. Here we go. Close this ad out. Okay, you can see here, this is overall Real Betis. There's those draws, Granada. But then you can look at, this is Real Betis at home, and this is Granada away, because essentially that's what we really want to focus on, because we're going to use the stats from Real Betis at home versus the stats for Granada at away. And you can see here at home, again, Real Betis, real strong team. They haven't lost. They've had 3 draws, did get a win there. And you can see Granada, they've won 2 away and lost 2 away. And then you look over here on this screen, this kind of gives you overall for the season. Real Betis won 8 out of the games, out of the 17 they've played at home, which is a good sign. Drawn 4, lost 4, drawn 5, lost 4. Granada, they won 4, drawn 3, but lost 10. So statistically speaking, Real Betis should win at home. Granada will lose majority of the time based on those stats there. All right. So let's take a look at line movement. All right. All right, so you can see right here, Real Betis, the line open at minus 164. Now it's all the way down to 125. So that definitely does not favor them from the start, even though we haven't. If you look at most recent line movement, did a coaching video about this with coaching clients. Haven't had a lot of movement lately. Let's see, what's today? The day is the 10th. So if we started the 9th, the lines move 128 to 125. So again, that doesn't even favor them as well, the most recent line movement. So the actual line movement favors, and this one looks like Granada. It's gone from 420 down to 375. The draw line as well. A lot of movement on the draw line. You can see here, 285 at 510. That would be last night, 1:30 in the morning. That line was at 285, and look where it's at now. Now it's at 270. All right. So that line movement would favor. So definitely when we're looking at this as far as line movement, again, we're not going to make a decision just based on line movement, but we will consider that. Line movement doesn't favor Real Betis, favors Granada, and favors the draw line. And let's see. Let me look at this. And the recent line movement you could see here from 5. Look at this right here from 5, doing the same thing we did with the draw. It went from 355 all the way up to 375. So if you're just focusing on line movement is moving strong in the direction of the draw. Okay. And let's go read a preview of this match again. We're at who scored. All right. So Real Betis looks like both teams have a lot of missing players. I always check this right here, this player that's a 7.09. That's a significant injury there. Look over here. Looks like Granada's got a lot of injuries as well. They kind of give a brief review. I won't read those. And let's kind of go into the synopsis here. Real Betis have drawn their last 6 matches. Again, I think to wager for Real Betis to lose would not be a good decision, just because, again, they haven't, they've drawn their last 6 matches in the Spain League. Real Betis have been drawing at halftime and full time. 5 of their last 6 matches. Skip those next 2. Granada have scored at least 2 goals in 5 of their 6 matches against Real Betis. Real Betis are undefeated in their last 5 home matches against Granada in all competitions. And let's go ahead and read this synopsis here. Real Betis have drawn the last 6 La Liga games, keeping 2 clean sheets in their last 3. Since February, let's see, he's lost just once, find themselves just 1 point off of the Europa League place with 4 games to play. Granada have won just 3 of their last 10, but still have an outside shot at a top 6. So, you know, how do we take this information here and sort of make some smart handicapping decisions? Well, Real Betis, it's going to be difficult to say Real Betis is going to lose, right? So that takes us now, if we go back here, Real Betis to lose. So we're thinking about either that minus 125 line. You know, it's difficult for them to lose, but can they actually win? We look at pull this. Yeah, I mean they haven't won their last 5 matches. So I think, you know, saying that this team has ability to win, I don't like that play. And also considering Granada has won 3 of their last 5. So I think Real Betis to win is something that we can almost eliminate, even though we're getting a little bit of value. And this logically seems like, considering, you know, Real Betis, they've drawn their last 5. We don't automatically assume that this match is going to draw, but it definitely leans in that direction. This would probably, overall, if I'm making a decision on this particular match, I think I would definitely lean in the direction of a draw here at plus, considering what you're getting plus 270. The lines are fairly tight. You go back to my actual original line, you know, neither team has a huge advantage goal differential. Granada's plus 114. You could say, hey, you know, what about Granada to win? I wouldn't think so, for the simple reason Real Betis is real strong at home. Again, if I was making an educated decision, a really good wager, I think the play here would be a draw, considering what you're getting at plus 270. This would probably not be a play for me because there's just so many variables. I don't think you can actually have an advantage in either direction. But I think for me, that would be the direction that I would move in. So in these particular plays, if I'm handicapping again, but I do like, I'm doing what I call a ghost wager, where I'm going to track my results, handicapping soccer this way starting today. But that would be a quote unofficial play, playing Burnley on the half a unit to win and half a unit to draw, and that's that match. So again, sort of review things. Let me pull up the actual screen here. Yeah, so to review, that's how we do it. So you can see how we took our stat model. We recognized which teams had value, which teams did not have value. We didn't make a decision just based on that. We looked at situational angles for soccer. We looked at form. We considered that. We looked at the line movement. We read a betting preview to get an overall sort of a macro approach. We realized that, hey, Fulham needs to win this game in order to stay in the English Premier League. That's huge motivation. You can't get that from your stat model. You can't get that from looking at form. You have to read betting previews. Betting previews are very important, even though there are a lot of bias factored into those betting previews. So anyway, hopefully this video helped. I'm super excited about soccer. Again, I'm not naive to believe there's somebody else. There's got to be somebody out there that is profiting from soccer long term. And again, my model, I talked about at the beginning, I think it's a good model. Just haven't been able to sustain it for a full year. But I think this approach, rather than trying to, you know, just base your plays on line movement, just basing it on a goal differential, just basing it on a line. And again, at the end of the day, I think just fully handicapping a game the correct way, the way I do NFL, the way I do college basketball, I think is going to yield long-term results. So I'm super excited about this approach. Again, being real cautious because I'm not wagering actual real money. But anyway, hopefully this preview helped. If you want to get access to the soccer power rankings, we do 6 leagues. We do the English Premier League, English Championship League, Spain League, Bundesliga, which is the German league. I think I'm leaving some English Premier League. And then English Championship League just finished up. So whatever teams are going to be playing throughout the summer, which is going to be MLS, we will have that available for power rankings. So you get access to all that for $29.95 per month. And you get access to all of my coaching videos, which are not on YouTube, only available on the site. If you want to get access to all of my power rankings coaching videos, as well as all of my plays for all sports, that is $49.95 per month, and you can join for an entire year, save about $300. That is $299. The links to join are in the description box. And appreciate you guys, those of you that Tony, Mark, you guys, I can't pronounce this other one, Abraham HD. Appreciate you guys tuning in live. Greatly appreciate the support, and we'll talk to you guys on the next video. Peace.